You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, winter making its way into the area. We're going to have some tips on how to stay safe on the road.
Plus, the Missouri Department of Transportation is making preparations ahead of winter weather.
And we've got wintry weather beginning to roll into the area. I think that might be the theme today. We're going to take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this finally Friday in the 4 states, and we are getting ready to deal with some snow across the area. This is round 1 of what could be a second round next week of something. We'll talk about that in more detail a little later, but we're going to dive right into this forecast, taking a live look from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin right now. We've got the cloudy skies and the radar showing snow rolling in. However, with the gusty winds, since it's not falling heavily at this point, can't really see much out there, but snow beginning to roll in. This is what we're talking about with those gusty winds. Take a look at our camera shaking on the Cornell complex. And when the snow gets a little heavier, even though some locations like Joplin aren't going to receive massive amounts of snow by any means, the heavier snow could lead to some reduced visibilities at times, especially with those gusty winds across the area. MoDOT camera I-44 at Rangeline looking back to the east. Again, so far, clear roadways out there, but that snow beginning to roll in. And if you're on I-44 heading southwest into Oklahoma to the Will Rogers Turnpike, snow's been falling down that direction for a little while now, so you absolutely need to watch out for slick spots. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing, again, making its best interpretation of rain versus snow in some locations, so showing rain around Grove, but we're showing snow all across most of southeast Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and inching its way into southwest Missouri at this point. This is a look, the low pressure system off to our west, and that is going to continue to push this snow and rain mix up into the area as we go through the morning. Winter weather advisory, southeast Kansas and Washington County in Oklahoma through 6, northwest Arkansas through noon. Medium impacts from the snow, mainly with slick spots on the roadways, and that's for everybody across the area this morning. Quick look outside, 33 in Joplin, 33 in Pittsburgh right now. Snow initially for most of us as we head into the early afternoon, and then we'll see a rain-snow mix for some, and maybe even just plain rain for others. It may get a little warmer today. We'll have another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Investigators suspect alcohol played a role in a crash that sent 3 teenagers to the hospital. It happened early yesterday on Hawaii Road, about 5 miles east of Humboldt, Kansas. Authorities believe a 16-year-old driver was traveling very fast, lost control, and the car flipped end over end multiple times into a pasture. The driver and 2 teenage passengers were taken to the hospital with what appeared to be non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities were seeking alcohol-related charges against all 3 teens. And authorities have arrested 2 suspects in the burglary of a closed Parsons, Kansas tobacco shop that was in the possession of the Labette County Sheriff's Department. Authorities had taken possession of the hashtag tobacco shop following an earlier narcotics investigation. Investigators say it was still in the department's possession when the burglars broke through a glass door and stole property from the business. Officers say they found the stolen items at a Parsons home where they arrested a 20-year-old man and a 14-year-old boy in the burglary case. And a call from a Springfield hospital about a critically injured 6-month-old baby leads to the arrest of a man in Lawrence County, Missouri. Authorities arrested the father, Zachary Bridwell. The Aurora Marionville Police Department investigated and believed the injuries to the baby, including head trauma, were intentionally inflicted. Further investigation revealed the mother was a juvenile and the father was an adult, making the relationship between them illegal under Missouri law. They arrested Bridwell on suspicion of numerous crimes, including abuse or neglect of the baby and statutory rape of the infant's mother. MoDOT is standing by to treat the roads in preparation for the winter weather. They're holding off for now in case it rains. If it does, the treatment would get washed away. They plan to plow today and will make plans for next week's weather. The department says it's hopeful for tomorrow, but is taking no chances, and neither should drivers.
Some rain, it can still flash freeze on you. But this one tomorrow, it looks like the ground temps are going to be pretty good. We're hopeful that we can just plow this one off. That's kind of our plan going in. But there could be some slick spots, especially those bridges that are elevated. They freeze first. We all know that. So drivers just need to be on the lookout for that tomorrow morning.
If necessary, some local drivers could be reassigned to help in the Kansas City area. And AAA is urging drivers to be prepared for the conditions and to remain cautious if out on the roads. Make certain that your tires have good treads and are properly inflated. Have the battery checked by a professional to ensure it is strong enough to face cold weather. And keep your gas tank at least half full to avoid gas line freeze-up. Ensure that windshield wipers are in good condition and the wiper fluid reservoir is full. And finally, make sure all lights are working properly. Up next, scientists announce the discovery of a new dinosaur. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
What's good to be home?
Ashley's New Year's clearance and closeout mattresses while supplies last. The New Year's mattress sale ends soon, only at Ashley.
Topping World Watch, convicted murderer Oscar Pistorius was released on parole Friday morning after serving nearly 9 years in prison. The former South African Paralympic sprinter was convicted of shooting his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp 4 times through the bathroom door of his house in 2023. South Africa's Correctional Services said in a statement the general parole conditions will apply to Pistorius. That means he will be required to be home at particular hours of the day, no consumption of alcohol or prohibited substances, and no media interviews. The athlete, known as the Blade Runner for his carbon fiber prosthetic legs, denied killing her at a fit of anger, saying that he had mistaken her for an intruder. Pistorius was convicted of manslaughter in 2014, but a higher court overturned the conviction and changed it to murder a year later, increasing his sentence to 6 years in prison. And a new species of dinosaur has been discovered in Argentina. Paleontologists describe making the announcement Wednesday of the discovery of the Titosaurus, the long-necked duck-beaked dinosaurs that went extinct 90 million years ago. They are said to have weighed 15 tons and measured 60 feet long. Paleontologists discuss the discovery.
Here we have this titanosaur with probably the dorsal ribs in position, but the strange thing is that we have, for example, one dorsal here and the other parallel here about 20 centimeters below, and here's the same. And so we are thinking that maybe this animal died and was dried and partially crashed. So that's the reason we have the ribs so close each other, because you can imagine that in a, I don't know, 30 tons dinosaur, probably ribs were about no less than 2 meters from each other, and here we have it 20 centimeters.
Excavations began at the site back in 2012. Rocks from the location are said to date back between 93 and 96 million years ago. And emergency crew workers made a remarkable rescue of an 80-year-old woman on Thursday after a 7.6 magnitude earthquake rocked the western coast of Japan on Monday. Video from the Osaka Municipal Fire Department shows rescue workers trying to reach the woman who was trapped in a collapsed 2-story residential building. Rescue workers crawled into tight spaces to reach the woman, who was conscious when they found her. The woman was pulled from the debris, and concerns about finding survivors grew as they were approached the crucial 72-hour window. Thousands of Japanese troops have joined the effort to reach the hardest hit spots. Worries continue to grow about cut-off communities where food and medical resources have not yet arrived.
And we've got light to moderate snow rolling into the area. Look at the Skywatch storm tracker showing that beginning to spread through the 4 states. We're having another look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. And coming up a little later, a local nonprofit is helping immigrants in the area. Our very own Fernanda Silva has that story.
Ninth triple threat. The winner goes to the Royal Rumble to challenge Roman Reigns.
Friday Night SmackDown New Year's Revolution. Live tonight, 8/7 Central, only on Fox.
Are you or a loved one finding it hard to cook and enjoy a nutritious meal every day? Pittsburgh Meals on Wheels is here to bring joy back to your dining table. Our dedicated volunteers deliver freshly prepared, delicious, and balanced meals right to your doorstep. With Meals on Wheels, you not only get a healthy meal, but also a friendly face and someone who cares. Nourish your body and soul. Contact Debbie at 235-3515 and sign up for Pittsburgh Meals on Wheels today.
Are you a homeowner in Newton County in need of larger scale?
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News 7:13 now as we are continuing to track snow moving into the area, now beginning to show up on the Joplin cameras. We'll get to all that in a moment. First, what we're keeping an eye on, rain and snow moving into the area. Right now, it's primarily snow, and slick spots are going to be likely on area roadways across the region, regardless of how much snow you see or don't see. Accumulations anywhere from a dusting up to 4 inches, and we are keeping a very close eye on a system that's going to be impacting us next Monday and Tuesday. Winter weather advisories, southeast Kansas, Washington County, and Oklahoma through 6 tonight, and in northwest Arkansas until noon today. And this is why. Take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker snow around the area. A little bit of an opening here in parts of southeast Kansas. And again, the radar making its best interpretation of what is rain and what is snow across the area. So at least on the radar, it looks like rain in the Grove area. Joplin Metro, snow now rolling in. So Pittsburgh, Girard, Columbus, Carthage getting in on the action. Lamar, Sheldon, Nevada. Some of this is not necessarily reaching the ground just yet, but you are probably about 10-15 minutes away from seeing that white stuff falling down from the sky. Miami, Fairland still dealing with snow. Grove again, Veneta, Newata, Lenapaw. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing this as rain at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if most of it's still snow, because again, the radar is making its best interpretation on data it has. We've got this little opening right here in between Oswego, Parsons, Independence, and Fredonia, but we're still dealing with snow across the majority of southeastern Kansas. All of this with this low pressure system out to our west, bringing much heavier snow farther west, but continuing to bring us snow, and eventually for some of us, maybe some light rain showers today. Medium impacts from that snow, again, mainly for slick spots on area roadways, as we are going to see that around the area, regardless, again, of how much snow you see. Let's take a look at road conditions across the state of Kansas, specifically here in southeastern Kansas. These green roadways are indicating what they call wet or seasonal pavement, meaning there are slick spots, and there are a lot more of those starting to show up than we had earlier this morning. And just this little sliver of 160 in western Elk County being listed as covered. We go to Missouri. Again, the snow just working into the Missouri side of things. So still, MoDOT reporting clear roadways across southwest Missouri, but that will very likely change a little bit as we go through the morning. We've repositioned a couple of our cameras, and take a look in the street light here right by the community clinic. There's that snow beginning to fall. And take a look at the tracks in the roads. It is sticking to the roadways. That's why we're concerned about slick spots. This is the tracks in the roads from snow that is beginning to accumulate on the roadways. MoDOT camera, I-44 and range line. There's wet spots on the camera where the snow is melted on there. As with a southeast breeze and the direction this is pointed off to the east, the snow is blowing directly onto this camera, but you can see it falling out there. KDOT camera near Pittsburgh on 69, just south of Pittsburgh. Looking good so far on 69. I'm not seeing anything necessarily sticking out there. And then we've got the KDOT camera just south of that one at Kansas Crossing. Again, I don't see tracks. I'm not seeing anything sticking out there, but it won't take long. And let me move to the other side. Take a look in the light in our parking lot at 7th and Range Line. Light snow beginning to fall, and even this light snow, again, is beginning to stick to the roadways out there. So that's why slick spots are our top concern. Now, in this light zone here, we're looking at a dusting up to maybe an inch of snow. Light blue zone through here, we're looking at roughly 1 to 3 inches. And further west where those winter weather advisories are, that's where that 2 to 4 inch zone is going to be for the snowfall for us today. Future tracks showing snow primarily as we head into the morning and early afternoon hours. Some of us could get some light drizzle, maybe a couple of light showers as you head further southeast where it's expected to be a little warmer. But in southeast Kansas, where those advisories are, as you can see, it's going to stay cold enough that this is, for the most part, going to remain snow. And that's why you're going to see a little higher accumulations out further west. And by sunrise tomorrow, we're going to start to see that clear out. However, we will remain cloudy on our Saturday. 33 in Joplin right now, feeling like 24. Southeast breeze at 13, and we've now got that light snow falling. Temperatures around the region, despite snow, they're mild for snow, but it is cold out there. there as we're in the low to mid 30s across the entire area. We'll be dealing with that rain, snow, or rain-snow mix as we head into the afternoon. Again, the further southeast you go, could see right about 40 or low 40s, but the further west you go into southeast Kansas, temperatures mid, maybe upper 30s. And as precipitation clears out behind all of that into northeastern Oklahoma, you're going to get a little closer to average, believe it or not, in the low 40s. An isolated snow shower or rain shower will be possible as we go overnight tonight. Temperatures not moving much as we fall back into the mid 30s, low to mid 30s across the area. And on our Saturday, we clear out from precipitation. Clouds remain though, and that keeps us a little cooler as we stay a pinch below average, upper 30s, and maybe a couple of low 40-degree readings out there across the area. Then there's next week we're talking about as well, where we could see right now, the latest updates still showing rain for Monday evening. Earlier updates this week had the snow much further south. That's something we've got to watch because that's going to have a huge impact on how much snow we see if it transitions to snow very early. If it starts Monday evening, we could see a bit more. If it stays like this and stays rain initially, we'll see a little less, but we are still keeping a very close eye on this because as we go through Tuesday, we will spend most of our Tuesday with snow falling across the area. So something we're monitoring closely and you need to monitor closely as well. Sunday, our best day out there so far, mostly sunny, upper 40s, watching that system Monday and Tuesday, and then we're going to clear out by Wednesday and Thursday and warm up a bit more back into the low to mid 40s. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Get the Skywatch weather app today.
A nonprofit in Joplin is impacting legal immigrants and refugee families in the area. In 2023, the Refugee and Immigrant Services and Education, or RAISE, supported almost 90 people in the area.
KOAM's Fernanda Silva spoke to a refugee from Colombia who shared how RAISE is helping him make Joplin his home.
Harman Menaka moved to Joplin last November. Things in Colombia, where he is from, were not easy. We experienced a family tragedy. A long story unfolded in which we felt like our lives were under threat. Menaka was looking for safety for him and his daughter. At the end of 2023, they became refugees in the United States. But starting anew in another country is not easy, especially when unable to speak English. It's something complex, but we have technology and that helps us. Menaka also found support at RAISE, a Joplin-based nonprofit that provides the tools immigrants and refugees families need to be successful in the U.S.
They're expected to be self-sufficient in a very short amount of time. And so that's where the Joplin community can come in, where they can not only just have a job here and they kind of create these isolated communities like we've seen in other places, but we want them to feel welcomed well here in Joplin. And we want them to integrate well into our community so that they can be an asset to our little town here.
It's just a simple thing. It brings them a smile and you don't know how much you really impact in their heart.
Amina Harman is a case manager at RAISE, but she knows exactly what it means to be facing challenges at home. The Rwandan native didn't have an easy childhood.
When I was 5 years old, I lost my parents in genocide. They came in and started cutting everyone. We started running wherever we could run. And when they came in, my mom hid me under the chair in church. And she said, if you want to survive, you have to quiet no matter what happens.
That was the last time Harman saw her mom. This is only one of the heartbreaking stories Amina had been through.
I asked them food, they spit in my hands and kicked me away.
But her life got better after moving to the United States, especially now when she's supporting people with a similar background.
Watching them growing, watching them know their life it's not just ending, it's just beginning, and it's not a lot of people who get that chance or the opportunity to know I'm in the beginning of a new chapter.
I believe strongly in God, and I know that arriving in this country through the front door has been a tremendous blessing. In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
RAISE started in Knoll in 2017 and expanded into Joplin during the 2021 Afghanistan evacuation. For 2024, the nonprofit plans to support up to 200 people.
Now, to learn how to help raise, you can go to our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Certainly a most worthy effort out there.
Very good cause. Yes. Well, coming up, Roller City Entertainment hosts its monthly adults-only skate party. Details coming up.
And some light snow in our area. Take a look at this. This is in Bentonville, where it's been snowing for a minute longer down there. More snow on the way and some rain. We'll have another look at that forecast when we come back.
Team, Fred Harris State Farm, Fletcher Toyota, Visit Joplin, and the City of Neosho.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:28 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. And before we go to our top stories, let's go to Chris with a quick update on our winter weather. Chris, what can we expect out there?
Well, we're starting to see snow, of course, rolling through the area. This is our camera 7th and range line. Now, as it's getting a little lighter, it's a little harder to see from here, but we've had some light snow falling in Joplin, and it's getting the roadways wet as well, so there might even be a little rain mixing in there. And taking a live look from our camera on the Cornell complex, checking in on street conditions. Now, the street light right here in front of the community clinic, if you look close enough, you can still see that light snow falling, and the roadways are getting slick out there. They're getting wet, so you've got to watch out for those slick spots. MoDOT camera I-44 range line looking back to the east. The interstate, if you look close enough, they're starting to get some wet spots out there. And of course, as you head into northeastern Oklahoma, where it's been snowing for a little bit longer, you've really got to slow down. Snow on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. This little opening over parts of southeastern Kansas out there, and the radar's best interpretation of what is rain and what is snow. So some of that may really be rain, some of it may be snow out there, but we are warm enough for a rain-snow mix across, honestly, most of the area this morning. Winter weather advisories, southeast Kansas, Washington County, Oklahoma through 6, and in northwest Arkansas, these run until noon today. Medium impacts from the snow, and again, as we were just showing you on the cameras, the biggest concern here is the slick spots on roadways across the region, regardless of how much snow you see. 33 in Joplin. You can see now the roadways, 69 getting wet just south of Pittsburgh there, sitting at 33. We're going to have snow for about the noon hour, maybe about 1 o'clock. And then as some of us warm up, it's going to be a rain-snow mix or just rain. Others will hold on to the snow. We'll have a complete look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
All right, Chris, can't wait. Well, a 4-month investigation by multiple law enforcement agencies in Kansas leads to a drug distribution bust. Wednesday, troopers initiated a traffic stop on a vehicle occupied by 2 suspects. 2 pounds of methamphetamine and about 2,500 fentanyl pills were located soon after. Authorities booked Jeffrey Philly and Teresa West, both of Wichita, on multiple charges, including distribution of methamphetamine and distribution of fentanyl. Spiva Park in Joplin showed off its holiday glory the last few months, but yesterday brought the inevitable, taking down the Christmas lights. Members of the public showed up to help unwrap lights from trees and bushes and pack them away neatly for next year. Organizers said the event was a great way to make community connections.
Much like many things in the community, the more you can get people involved in making a place better and improving a place and being part of what's happening, it ties people in, and people care about where they live, and they do more. You know, you do a little bit and then you're like, that was cool, that was fun, I feel engaged. You also get to meet people, you get to make connections within the community.
Hot chocolate was also on hand to help keep everyone toasty and warm. And folks in Joplin last night put on their roller skates and took a spin. Roller City Entertainment hosted an adults-only skating experience. It was a chance for newer adult skaters to get used to it, and officials say it provides a unique atmosphere.
It runs in the blood. My granddad, he was a champion speed skater. He started working here. He kind of helped shape the business back before it was Roller City, and this building really kind of means a lot to me. And honestly, my kids, they come in here and they're carrying on the tradition, speed skating.
Roller City Entertainment hosts an adults-only skating night on the first Thursday of every month. And AAA is urging drivers to be prepared for the conditions and to remain cautious as out on the roads. Make certain your tires have good treads and are properly inflated. Have the battery checked by a professional to ensure it is strong enough to face cold weather. Keep your gas tank at least half full to avoid gas line freeze-up, and ensure that windshield wiper blades are in good condition and the wiper fluid reservoir is full. Finally, make sure all lights are working properly. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker will be with us to share his big 3 stories of the week.
West Coast saying hello 2024.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Simply more convenient.
Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon.
Hello. Are you ready for that snow?
Let's hit it, buddy.
How long has it been since you've seen snow?
It's been a while, actually.
Yeah, because you were in Tennessee, which is not a big snow place.
But Wyoming before that, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, forget what I said. Let's take a look at the big 3. KOAM News Now, what's live and local happening where you live. West 19th Street and South Murphy in the Blendville neighborhood, one of Joplin's oldest neighborhoods. Actually used to be a little town called Blendville. House fire there on the corner. No one was at home at the time of the fire, and the house was so, I guess you could say tight, insulated well. The fire was burning for a long time in the basement, so as firefighters went in that main level, the floor was soft because it was ready to collapse through. No firefighters were injured. Of course, no one was home at the time of the fire. It's been determined the fire began in the basement where some things were stored next to what would be called the heat source. Our number 2 story, KOAM News Now, tragic shooting. A teenage boy is under arrest in Galena. It happened about 2:30 in the morning. The Galena Estate Apartment says officers arrived after being alerted to a shooting. A teenage boy was sitting on the steps and said someone had been shot in an upstairs apartment. After they secured the scene, went inside, found the deceased individual, 38-year-old male. Don't have a lot of details since it's a juvenile case currently. We'll still continue to follow this story though. And our number 1 story, last Friday morning, in fact during the big 3, this crash happened on Baseline Boulevard and 43 Highway. Tractor trailer pulling an Amazon trailer went across 43 Highway when it wasn't clear, and a man from Carl Junction went underneath that trailer and coming out the other side. Tragedy, the next day he did die at a Joplin hospital. He has 2 children and a wife. I know a lot of people were friends with them. I've seen that online. More information can be found on our website. That is a windshield wiper that was still stuck underneath the tractor trailer I saw. Wow. Armed robbery at the Tiff City store. They're asking if you can ID this man. Tiff City store is right on the Oklahoma and Missouri line. If you just look right here, it's just about 200 feet there into Oklahoma. That's where he fled on foot. White male, blonde hair, and was wearing a Pea Ridge hoodie. Very bizarre, right? Pea Ridge is a town in Arkansas really close by. So if you know anything, contact the McDonald County Sheriff's Office, not only to get money out of the cash register. They have these games in the back of the store. A lot of these gas stations now have these games, and I guess he broke some of the games open too to get money.
Really?
Yeah, very bizarre. It's your big 3, KOAM News Now.
All right, Shannon, as always, thank you so much for such great stories. You're the best.
All right, you be good.
All right, stick around. We got more news coming up after this.
Imagine being
Santos Escobar, Kevin Owens, the winner, will take on Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble.
And the only resolution for New Year's is action.
Orton, Styles, Knight, triple threat. The winner goes to the Royal Rumble to challenge Roman Reigns.
Friday Night SmackDown New Year's Revolution. Live tonight, 8/7 Central, only on Fox.
Our first responders fight to keep us safe. Let's fight for them. KOAM News Now proudly partners with Hero Fund USA to help purchase safety equipment to protect them as they protect us. Visit KOAMNewsNow.com/HeroFund to learn how you can support our local heroes.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate
Freedom of the press is about your right to know.
and Clark sheer athleticism.
It's about your right.
February 1st on Fox.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 7:39. Rain and snow continuing to move into the area, and we're looking at slick spots likely on the area roadways regardless of how much snow you see or don't see. A dusting up to 4 inches across the region, and we're still keeping an eye on that system as we head into next week. Winter weather advisory, southeast Kansas and Washington County, Oklahoma until 6 o'clock this evening. Northwest Arkansas until noon today, and in northwest Arkansas, Arkansas, take a look. This is an RDOT camera in Bentonville at Central Avenue. Look at that snow coming down out there. So if you're traveling on I-49 south into Arkansas, this is what we're talking about. The road may be clear, the shoulders are not, and those roads are going to get very slick very quickly out there. Here's the Skywatch Storm Tracker showing the snow. There it is down in the Bentonville area, making its best interpretation of what is rain and what is snow. So it is showing rain now in parts of northeastern Oklahoma. We've got this gap here that's developed in southeastern Kansas, and then snow surrounding that across the region. So zooming in, first on the metro area, Lamar starting to get in on the action. Jasper, Carthage, Joplin getting in on it. Pittsburgh, Girard as well. And here's that opening from Oswego, Parsons, just as south of Erie out there. In the northeast Oklahoma, Skywatch Storm Tracker showing what it believes is mostly rain now that's been beginning to build in out here, but that doesn't mean that this is all rain. There still is very likely a rain-snow mix, and in some cases maybe still just some straight-up snow. And these darker blues, especially as you head into our western counties, Greenwood, Elk, Chautauqua counties, that's some much heavier snow taking place, and much heavier snow off to our west, where they do have winter storm warnings, and they're looking at 6 inches or more of rain, or snow rather, all associated with this low pressure system continuing to lift off to the northeast, bringing us these snow chances. Medium impacts from the snow, as we mentioned. We're talking about the slick spots on area roadways out there. Speaking of area roadways, KDOT. Some changes here. We have got the green indicating wet pavement, or what they call seasonal conditions, meaning there are slick spots on a number of area highways and roadways. However, take a look. Greenwood, Elk, Chautauqua counties. We've got covered roadways out there, and even just to the southeast of Fredonia, and then the light blues are indicating partially covered roadways, and you can see this is continuing to overspread the area. And now MoDOT updating as well, where you've got some road conditions to talk about down in Berry County and McDonald County, where we've got mostly clear. So again, that means slick spots on those roadway sets, including parts of I-49 down to the south. Our camera on the Cornell complex shaking in the wind. Now earlier when it was darker, you could see the snow pretty well in this street light here, but if you look close enough, you can see it that is falling, and take a look at the roadways and how wet they are out there. So that's why we're concerned about slick spots. MoDOT camera I-44 range line looking back east, wet roadways, wet spots on the camera itself. Now, unlike in Arkansas, the snow's not piling up out there, nor is it expected to in the Joplin area or in Pittsburgh for that matter. But if you look at the reflections here, KDOT camera on 69 south of Pittsburgh and the one at Kansas Crossing, the roadways are getting wet, and with it being cold enough, they're going to get pretty slick. And we've got wet roadways starting to show up here on our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin as well. In terms of snow totals, not many changes in this. This has been a relatively consistent forecast here. In the light blue, we're talking a dusting up to an inch. In this medium shade of blue, we're talking 1 to 3 inches, and as you head further west, that 3 to 4 inch zone out there is what we are continuing to deal with, and that's why we have those winter weather advisories farther out to the west. Snow will continue into the late morning and early afternoon hours, and then we could see again transitions to a rain-snow mix or just straight up rain for some of us. And then of course into southeastern Kansas, where those advisories are, we're expecting a little bit more snow, and by Saturday morning things will begin to clear out a bit. As for our Saturday, 40 degrees, cloudy skies out there. We're going to warm up and be a little sunnier on Sunday. Then we've got rain Monday, and depending on what all takes place, we're looking at snow Tuesday, but there's that possibility by late Monday it could transition to snow, and that's going to play a huge role in what we get out of this system. So it's still too early to talk about accumulations, but we're watching this closely. You need to watch it closely. That's a check of your forecast. Now here's Caitlin with Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. TikTok and Peloton Interactive are joining together to create a new fitness hub on the social media platform. The hub is expected to contain Peloton workout content with video clips and celebrity collaborations. Users will be able to find the content by searching the hashtag TikTok Fitness. The new partnership could be Peloton make its product more widely available, as well as reverse declines in workout equipment sales since the end of the pandemic. And Verizon customers could receive some money as part of a class action lawsuit. The lawsuit alleged that between January 1st, 2016 to November 8th, 2023, customers were charged undisclosed administrative fees in a, quote, deceptive and unfair manner. The total settlement is proposed to be $100 million. Verizon customers have until this spring to have a filed claim, and each eligible customer can receive up to $100. Verizon denies any wrongdoing, but says it will amend its customer agreement to include disclosures of administrative charges. And the country's labor law enforcement agency rules against Google in a negotiation case. The National Labor Relations Board, or NLRB, says that Google failed to lawfully bargain with some unionized YouTube music contractors on issues like pay, on-site work requirements, and childcare. The NLRB rejects Google's claims that employees provided by staffing firm Cognizant, who became members of the Alphabet Workers Union, weren't considered YouTube workers. Google claimed it didn't have enough control over them to be considered a joint employer of them. The report says Google plans to appeal the ruling. And that's our Consumer Watch this morning. We'll be right back.
At U.S. Cellular, anyone can...
At 10, right here on Fox 14.
A medical emergency put a South Carolina woman in a very dangerous situation when she had a heart attack while driving. Luckily, not one but two nurses saw what happened and intervened.
A move that the woman's mother is forever grateful for. Rashad Williams has the story.
I always kind of sort of believed in miracles until December the 8th.
A day Kathy Gilliam almost lost her 44-year-old daughter, Tiffany.
Her supervisor called me. She said, I think there's something wrong because Tiffany's not here. So we called Tiffany and kept going to voicemail.
Tiffany was on her way to work on Woodruff Road when she suffered a heart attack. Her car headed into oncoming traffic, eventually veering off into this embankment. Felicia Hunt had a front row seat while sitting at this intersection near the Sphinx in the Five Forks area.
I immediately recognized that it was a medical emergency because she was on the wrong side of the road and people were honking at her. You could tell there were no brake lights and no turning of the wheel or anything, so you can tell that someone was not awake.
Felicia just so happens to be a registered nurse in the right place at the right time.
She was unconscious and we had to do CPR. That's when Jennifer showed up because she saw me doing CPR on the side of the road.
I was like, oh my gosh, I have to pull over. So I pulled over in the Sphinx, ran over there, and immediately started compressions because I know it's difficult to do it on your own.
Jennifer Knowles, another bystander in that moment, who just so happens to also be a registered nurse.
I pray every day to be a blessing to somebody, and I was put in the right place at the right time.
3 women, along with medics who eventually arrived, helped save Tiffany's life.
Tiffany apparently died 5 times. She was in ICU for 4 days.
But she survived, left with some memory loss, several broken ribs, and a broken sternum. Her heart still beats thanks to 3 strangers.
And I'm forever grateful for that.
Did you get a chance to meet them yet?
I haven't met them. I would love to meet them, but I have not met them.
So Kathy said she wanted to meet the 3 individuals who helped save her daughter, and little does she know, I was able to track down 2 of the 3, so we're gonna go surprise her right now.
I didn't come alone.
An emotional first meeting.
It's so good to meet you. I'm so glad she's okay.
Thanks to you guys. I don't even know what to say.
Gratitude.
You guys saved my daughter's life. The doctors told us.
God put us there in the right
I
time.
know he did.
Joining hands.
I love you guys.
Yes, yes.
We're part of the family now.
Yes, we are.
Right?
Yes.
Finding a light through a dark situation.
So you guys took turn. Now, which one of you guys cracked my daughter's ribs?
Oh, bless
A life was saved and a lifelong bond was created.
One more hug.
Yes.
One more hug.
I love you guys. Love you. Thank you. Thank you so much. God is good. Thank you.
Tiffany's family has set up a GoFundMe to help with her medical expenses.
Talk about being in the right place at the
Absolutely.
right time. Let's take one more quick look outside. This is our camera at 7th and Range Line. The roadways are getting wet, and as it gets a little brighter, it's a little harder to see the light snow that is falling across the area, but it does continue to work its way on through. And you can see the wet roadways here at 7th and Joplin downtown. This is our camera on the Cornell complex, keeping a closer eye on the roadways out there. MoDOT camera I-44 at Range Line also showing the interstate getting a little bit on the wet side. Snow continuing to rotate on through the area. Now remember, this gap doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing falling. It's just remember, the radar can't pick up on drizzle or flurry, so there's probably some very light snow falling there, all associated with this low pressure system. Now, as it continues to rotate on through, it'll continue to push some snow and even some rain through the area as well. Quick reminder, winter weather advisories: Kansas, Washington County, Oklahoma through 6 tonight, and in northwest Arkansas through noon. We'll have one more look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
I'm not coming out until...
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities have arrested 2 suspects in the burglary of a closed Parsons, Kansas tobacco shop that was in the possession of the Labette County Sheriff's Department. Authorities had taken possession of the #tobacco shop following an earlier narcotics investigation. Investigators say it was still in the department's possession when burglars broke through a glass front door and stole property from the business. Officers say they found stolen items at a Parsons home, where they arrested a 20-year-old man and a 14-year-old boy in the burglary case. A 4-month investigation led by multiple law enforcement agencies in Kansas leads to a drug distribution bust. Wednesday, troopers initiated a traffic stop on a vehicle occupied by 2 suspects. 2 pounds of methamphetamine and about 2,500 fentanyl pills were located soon after. Authorities booked Jeffrey Philly and Teresa West, both of Wichita, on multiple charges, including distribution of methamphetamine and distribution of fentanyl. And a nonprofit in Joplin is impacting immigrants and refugee families in the area. In 2023, the Refugee and Immigrant Services and Education, or BRAIS, supported almost 90 people in the area. The organization provides the tools these families need to be successful in the U.S., from help with housing and documentation to driving and English classes. For 2024, the nonprofit plans to support up to 200 people.
All right, taking another quick look at road conditions across southeast Kansas. We're seeing a lot more partially covered and covered roadways out there as snow continues to work in across the area. And on the Missouri side, we are still not too bad at this point. Most of the roads are still listed clear, but we've got some slick spots as you head a little further to the south out there, and we've got wet spots building around the region. We've got the rain snow across the area today. Snow through at least the first portion of our day for just about everyone. Some of us near 40, others not so much, and that's why we're expecting heavier snow accumulations to the west. Cloudy but dry for our Saturday and cool, warming up Sunday, and then we're keeping a very close eye on a system Monday and Tuesday of next week, and it's something that you should be monitoring as well, and we'll keep you updated here at KOAM as we get closer.
Absolutely. And speaking of ice, the ice city of China is attracting a record number of visitors with its grand and intricate ice sculptures.
This year, the park took up 810,000 square meters and comprises 250,000 cubic meters of ice, according to state media. Vice Director of Marketing at Harbin Ice and Snow World, Sun Zeman, said on Thursday that the average number of daily visitors to the park this year is almost doubled compared to 2018.
Visitors flocking to the city have booked out hotels and sold out tickets over the New Year holiday. The city's annual Ice and Snow Festival helped draw more than 3 million visitors to Harbin during the 3-day holiday that ended on Monday, generating 5.91 billion yuan, or $826 million in tourism revenue. State media agency Zune reported on Wednesday.
All right, that's a lot of ice. Thankfully, not as much ice here. Well, thanks so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll continue to track the snow through the day.
And we'll see you right back here today at noon.